Today we're back on the Somerset Coal Canal, trying to get this bridge to a point where they can fill this canal with water. Today we're back on the Somerset Coal Canal at Poulton Basin, and we're here to carry on with the walls that were started a few weeks back. Now there have been some work parties going on which have done a little bit more, just sort of local work parties which you can come down and join if you want to. When we were here last, I reckon we were about here, so this has all been done since, and there's another wall on the other side as well which we'll go over to in a second. There's not nearly as many as there were before, but I still reckon there's a good chance this wall might be complete up to almost up to the coping stone level, which is just there. Now we can use the blue lias a little bit until we get to closer to the water level, and then we'll switch back to more natural stone, so when it's full up you won't see any of this sort of blue stone that's lower down. And this is the other end of the wall, which was always the more difficult side. I was primarily on the other side though, and you can see there's still quite a lot that needs to be done here. There's a lot more sort of patching in and stuff here, but the actual wall behind it is better. There's a huge void in that other wall, where this one, if you look at it, there's not much of a backfill to do behind it. So this, I'm not sure if we're going to be working on this side at all today. I think the idea might be to concentrate on the other side, but we'll come back to here if needed. You can see just on here how far that wall curves in by that stone just up there, which is an original facing stone. So the first job of the day is to move a load of stones. So it's the blue lias stone again, which we're doing the first few courses on. You can see Fiona and Dave there are currently doing some. They've done quite a bit already actually. We've got to move it all down to here so they can crack on. Now there's a bit of sorting. You can see different sizes. That's a very small piece, and then you've got 4 and 5 inch pieces on these two pallets here. There's quite a backfill on this, but what they're trying to do is, rather than waste loads of lime mortar, is to concrete in behind. So you kind of put a mixture in, and at the moment we're put pieces in, so there's lots of little pieces that can be used. They go in, we fill around that, and then you pour like quite a liquid concrete down behind, and it backfills that gap in behind and goes into all the little nooks and crannies. So this is just a load of rubbish really that's not going to be used anywhere else. The face is no good on it, it's too small. There are some bigger bits in there, but you know, bad facing. You can see bits like this here, look, where there's just get it on the right place, where that face would just look awful on this outside wall. But it's good for getting that filled. So that's with like a concrete poured across there, that is rock solid done. So you can see from the top now, this end is up to coping stones. You can see what I mean about the backfill of the concrete through there, look. So it mixes in with those stones and stuff, and creates quite a solid tie-in then to the bank. This isn't going to have a huge amount of pressure. It's only about 4 foot of water through here. So to the end of the day, there's loads of stone moved down here, which is a huge help. This means that when the work parties come down, the normal ones, they can carry on and do quite a bit more without having to lug everything around. But you can see here we're right up to copers on this side now, and just stepping down away. Now the blue lias is only going up to the level there, as you can see, about there. So that's water level just above there, and this wall is all the way through now, and they're just in a bit of backfill on this end now. This side, one of the guys has been here just working this out, so trying to get stone ready to go in there, so they'll backfill that. So I expect the next time we come here there'll be quite a bit of backfill done there. I reckon they might have even got that to coping stone, maybe some coping stones on, and then this can be progressed quite well then. So we're going to come back here another time hopefully. Well, I'll finish this video off. It's not really much point in doing this as a single video because it's kind of the same as the last one. So let's see this get to the top. So we're 4 months in the future. I missed the last work party because I was doing a charity walk with a friend, and we're here today hopefully to get these walls finished. But there has been some other stuff happening down here, because obviously when we're not here doing these big dig sort of work parties, they have their own volunteers down here doing work. So they have continued work on the sluice over here. Now this has been completely rebuilt and all the bits and pieces put in the middle ready to go, and that drains this off down into the stream behind the dry dock, which is just kind of over there. So these walls are now in a pretty finished state. This wall here is ready for the coping stones, which is hopefully going to happen today. They are kind of just up there behind where Fiona was just walking. This has all been largely repaired in here. Again, pretty much ready for the coping stones across the top. And this was where the work party was last time. And you can see this wall only needs about 2 or 3 more rows. So the plan is today to get this done up to coping stone level. Coping stones on the end there, and I'm not too sure about the middle there. You probably won't get all the coping stones because what they're doing is they're cutting them down into these smaller size ones, so they're much easier to manage. So at the moment they're looking at cutting the coping stones, as I said, to smaller pieces. So they've got some pretty large ones up here, which aren't manageable by the smaller work parties that are normally here. And then we've got the team down here. There's 3 people here today, laying the rest of that wall. So they're using the blue lice at the moment, which is just kind of, as it might suggest, like a bluer stone. This isn't what it was naturally made out of, but they're going to be below the water level again here. So then they're going to have a more natural stone across the top, which should mirror that side over there. But whilst we were looking through, I found this. How cool is this? So around here, everywhere were tramways. And you can see where there would have been a rail through here and also through some of the stones here. You can see the drill holes where they've had through. They'd have had a wooden plug in there, which they would have then attached the rails to on top. So there's lots of history hidden in this pile. We're on the last course, so they've done the blue lias here, look. This is going to be below water level, and the water level is roughly kind of there, just where they're kind of pointing in now. So that's going to be a nice layer of stone across the top. We've got about an hour left of today, so we should be able to get right across there and get that done.
Hi, I'm Tracy Craven, the Marketing Secretary for the Somerset Coal Canal Society. We're here in Terminus Bridge work party. We've done a few of these now to try and get the walls restored back to roughly what they were before. We've had a lot of volunteers coming over the last few months just to try and get this finished off. We're really grateful for all the help. We've had a lot of people turning up. Stonemasons, builders and just general labourers, lots of mortar and concrete being mixed, and we are almost at the finish point. Hopefully after today we are in a position where we just need to get the coping stones on the top and finish it off. There's a little bit more work on the sluice gate just down there, and then we should be hopefully in a position to get some water back into this section of the canal.
So, really good progress again. Now, I think we're probably at the end, certainly for this year, of these bigger work parties. So the rest will be done by the smaller volunteer parties, which you can join. They're down here on Sundays. Now, you can see the top course is done and in place, apart from just a few on the end here where Fiona's been working, mainly because there's a lot of backfill gone into there. So she actually started lower down than everybody else. You don't want too much weight on the top there. The coping stones have started to be cut, so hopefully we'll see those in soon. There may be another party or two to do these, which we'll cover on a different video. But these parties have been a really good way to get people involved in the canal who maybe wouldn't have already done it. Now they've been contacting sort of local trades and stuff, and the social media posts have been going out. Now you have Ian here, just there, who is from Wiltshire College, so he teaches this at a college basically. It would be good if more colleges could get involved in projects like this. It's such a good way to learn the trade, because you're not just building a brand spanking new stone wall, block wall, brick wall, whatever. You're actually having to fill in bits and restore heritage, go to existing lines and stuff. So if you are part of a college and you want to get involved in these projects, my email's in the bottom. Feel free to contact me and I'll put you in contact with your local restorations. It would be really good to get the next generation of tradesmen actually learning on projects like this. So the eventual aim is for this bridge to go back in, but at the moment it's not a priority. They're going to fill this section next, probably leaving that bund in just to test it, to make sure it's all sealed. And this could be a later job. There's kind of access across as a footpath comes across here, which joins an old railway line, which is just up in the trees, kind of over there. You can see those trees over there. With that in place, the bridge isn't needed, but the bridge can also be built when the canal is full of water. So the project behind this can happen then. Now there's a couple of different ways they could do it. They could build the abutments up on the sides and put a deck across here, which would be high enough so you could get boats under. Or the original bridge was actually an arch bridge. They found evidence for that. They didn't know what it was originally. So it would be amazing to see another brick arch bridge, especially like the one just over there across where it's going into the dry dock, which is a really pretty bridge.
So we hold work parties at Poulton every Sunday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. They are general maintenance work parties, and then every now and again we do one of these big work parties, which is more builders, bricklayers, so more skilled workers that come along to help us out. You're welcome to come and join us. Just have a look on either the website, Instagram or Facebook. There are contact details on there for joining. And obviously we have work parties on a Tuesday at Coombe Hay as well.
But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and please do give the Somerset Coal Canal a like, join up with them if you can, and have a great day.